I'm so excited to have my guest, Nate. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Aneta. It's a pleasure to be here. And to everybody listening and watching, hi. Hold on to your booty. It's about to get real. You're about to experience something amazing on this show today.
I'm so excited. And just in reading your bio and looking at the content that you're creating, I'm so curious to see how you started your journey and what brought you to this moment where we are today.
My journey started off like anybody else. I arrived here on the planet, but it also, like a lot of other people in this world, when I was about 5 years old and I started going to school, I'm here in northern Utah and I'm not part of the predominant religion. So, like a lot of people can relate to what bullying feels like, to
Mm.
be that ostracized. But for me, it was pretty intense physical, mental, and emotional bullying at home as well. My mother had some chemical imbalances. So she's great now, but growing up, it was a really stressful and hard time for her. So I was being bullied at school and I was being abused at home, and I just never felt safe. So around the age of 11, I was contemplating suicide on a daily basis. And a lot of people do. Unfortunately, there are so many beautiful things in life, but when you're in that place, it's so difficult to see the beauty. And so around the age of 12, I really liken this saving myself because I started having, and this is going to sound weird to some people, but it's true, out of body experiences.
What do you mean?
My consciousness would leave my body. And I would see my body laying in my bed and I would be able to travel. And I was well aware of that I wasn't in my body and completely free. So if you've ever had a dream that was so real that you knew this was real life, it's like that, but where you can actually consciously control it. And that would happen on a pretty regular basis to me in order to show me that there's more to our life than just the abuse that it was more than just the limiting thoughts that I had about myself or the wanting to check out early. It was showing me there is no checking out.
Mm.
It's a transition. So
Yeah.
that started happening when I was about 12 years old. And then growing up, I just wanted to be a Jedi and I wanted to be a ninja. After I saw Star Wars and ninja movies, I wanted to be both of those things combined. But growing up in a farm town, there's nowhere to practice martial arts except for on your brothers. They didn't like that very much. And when I was about 16, 17 years old, I joined a karate dojo. And this karate school, it was great. It was wonderful. But there was no internal, mental, spiritual, meditative component at all. Zero. It's a strip mall martial art. So it was a lot of fun, made some great friends, learned how to defend myself, which is really why I went. But there was that part missing, that internal part. And that you'd see these Shaolin monks or grandmasters of martial arts be able to do amazing things on TV. And I wanted that. Well, fast forward to when I was 23, I ordered a course at a Black Belt magazine that guaranteed me inner power in 2 weeks. And I was like, yes, I want instant chi. That sounds great. So I got this course and it came with a chintzy little ineffective manual, but it also came with a VHS tape that showed Indonesian martial arts. Now, I knew I had some shirts from Indonesia, but didn't really know much about the country. I didn't know that they had over 700 different styles of martial arts, and almost all of them have an internal energy or meditative component to it.
Wow.
Almost all of them. So when I saw this tape, and it didn't show people breaking boards and bricks, it showed people smashing huge stacks of steel and
Oh
iron
my
bars.
gosh.
Yeah, it was flooring. And I thought that was cool, but I'd already broken some bricks and some boards. So I was like, okay, that's neat. I love their chi control. But what happened right after that was I got to see something on this tape that would then change the rest of my life. And that was people who were blindfolded, or even blind men and women that could do anything you or I do, even if they didn't use their eyes. And I'm talking driving cars through traffic. Martial artists who were fighting full contact, bare knuckles, blindfolded. People who were able to, we'll say military special forces soldiers who could shoot targets out of people's hands while they were blindfolded. And then it showed blind people who could read printed material off of a piece of paper or off a whiteboard without touching it. And I was really skeptical. I'll be honest in that I was really skeptical about this. But having had those other non-local consciousness experiences, the out of body and remote viewing, and knowing that our own CIA here in America had sent psychic spies to learn how to do remote viewing and out of body travel to spy on the Soviet Union for decades, that it was something that even our own government were using. That, okay, well, there might be something to this, but what am I going to do? It's a nice videotape. And the next day, I had what I call a synchrodestiny. Not just a synchronicity, because it changed my life right then. So I was at the stoplight. And if you could just imagine, you're stopped at a stoplight watching a blind woman about to cross the street in front of you with her dog. And you watch that dog lead her face first into the light pole. Yeah. So right there in my car, I had, I guess you would call it an epiphany, or now people call it a download. But I would say it was a spiritual imperative that I find those Indonesian people and bring them here to help her. Now, I'd never met a blind person, but I just knew I was paying attention to those signs.
Yeah.
So I went on this search and I found them. I brought them to America. I was able to actually watch blind men. They brought two blind gentlemen with them, and they were able to do anything, including drive my car around my neighborhood. And I knew then Jedis are real. Now, how? How is this
I was going to
possible?
say, wait, hold on one second, because I want to pause. Other people might be also saying, wait a second. So, what do you mean that you went to go find them? How do you go to Indonesia? Is it the people from the video, or how did you know that people outside of the video existed?
Good question. I apologize for not mentioning that. So this is in the early days of the internet, in the dial-up era. And so what I did is I went to the local library here and I started looking and scouring for anything that I could find for these people. I only understood two words on that video because it was in the Indonesian language. Merpati Putih. Now, Merpati Putih sounds funny in English, but in Indonesian, it means white dove. So it's the white dove system of meditation, breath work, energy development, energy healing, extrasensory development, fighting and combat, and also martial arts forms that was passed down for 500 years within the royal family of Central Java. And it was reserved only for the royal family until 1963 when they released it to the Indonesian public to help their citizens during what is known as the Indonesian genocide, where over 500,000 Indonesian people were slaughtered by their government in a 6-month period. So they released this to help their people be more energetically aware of, if I hurt you, I hurt myself. Don't do this. And increase their emotional intelligence, their energetic intelligence, their intuitive intelligence, but also the ability to help defend themselves from the violence, because it is a martial art at its core. And so they had never trained a non-Indonesian person ever in history, though, until me. So I brought them over. I got to see them with my own eyes, pun intended. I got to learn just the most basic of their breath work. And it is not like anything else that people are familiar with. So if you're familiar with Stan Grove's holotropic or Wim Hof breathing or Tumo or all the other ones out there, this one stands apart. It's like totally unique. I'm not going to say better. I'm just going to say it's different. And so I started learning this, and it was extremely intense, which is good for me because I was a bodybuilder. I was tough. I wanted to be a martial artist my whole life and had been for years. And bodybuilder, I loved intense workouts. This took my breath away, pun intended there too. But the feeling that I got in my body and outside my body even was incredible. And I was so blessed that they would show me any of it. And I just wanted to help them. But then when they were leaving, the chairman of Merpati Putih was here. And he said, Nate, I spoke with both of the 11th generation royal family heirs to this knowledge, and they want you to become the first non-Indonesian person to learn this.
How long did they stay with you in the States? Did you provide housing for them? Did you train with them every day? Was it just you? What was that experience like when you brought them over?
Yeah, so they came over here. They stayed a little bit in my house, but then we got them a hotel. There was a big pretty big contingent. So they were able to stay in this hotel. And then also we traveled. Well, we did demonstrations at my alma mater, which is Weber State University in Ogden, Utah. And then also at the Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind, and also at the Indonesian Embassy in Washington, D.C. for the ambassador and his wife. And there are a lot of Indonesian people in Washington, D.C. So there was a big party. People got to see it. It was pretty amazing to be able to see this. Now, there just happened to be a trainer of Merpati Putih, a former Special Forces trainer of Merpati Putih, living in Salt Lake City, just about an hour south of me. And so when the chairman said, hey, he's going to be your trainer, I was like, wait a minute, what? Now, that wasn't part of the deal. He said, how are you going to do what we do? How are you going to promote what we do if you don't know what we do? And I said,
Right.
you got a good point. So the next day or next week, I started training with him. He's a former doctor and ear, nose, and throat surgeon in Indonesia. Now he's a speech language pathologist here in the US. And I started training with him, but he did not want me to train. He still was purist. He wanted it only Indonesian, like that's it. But the 11th generation heir, one of them was one of his best friends and asked him, please train him. And a few weeks later, one of my younger brothers joined me, and together we were able to test, train, be promoted quicker than anybody in history by this trainer who literally tried to kill us. I won't even lie. He did not want us to learn. He's like, hey, if they quit, it's not my fault. And I said, okay. So we made it very tough on us. That's good, though, because we went through these ranks. Then we brought the 11th generation heirs here to Utah to personally test us and inaugurate our school. And they did. And we became the first outside branch of Merpati Putih, even though over there it's a cultural heritage with thousands of branches. Here, zero. And so in 2001, we opened our very first martial arts school. And for 20 years, we owned one of the largest martial arts and meditation academies in the country. We went to Indonesia numerous times for long training, testing sabbaticals to learn from the royal family, to learn from military members, the greatest teachers over there, and also to teach as well. A lot of business development from us, they adopted. And with that in mind, when COVID happened into the world, over half the martial arts schools in the country closed, and ours was one of them. And so we pivoted to teaching not martial arts anymore, but teaching the vibrational vision, but also the energy development and healing aspect of it. Because when you think about it this way, it was our mission to bring this ability to see without your eyes. That was where it all started for us. And then we segued into the martial arts, and we lost our way from the vibrational vision a little bit. I mean, we still were there, but it wasn't like our main focus. And I'm sure many people here have had that happen for their life as well, where you start off on a road, you take a detour, and then you come back. Well, we did that. And I don't know if anybody out there has ever worked with family members, but it can be one of the most rewarding and infuriating experiences of your life and challenging. And so for my brother and I, after over 20 years, 22 years, we decided we were going to part ways in our business because we have very different visions of how we can help humanity. And so I formed the Integrated Ascension Method, or the IAM for short. I thought that was a pretty powerful acronym, the IAM.
I love that.
Yeah. And so now what I do is I take this amazing energy art, which doesn't have any martial arts in it anymore, but we've had things, I'm not going to make any medical promises, but I've had people reverse their long COVID in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I've had people who were paralyzed on an entire side of their body start to be able to feel and move their limb after this work. Asthma, almost 100% of people who have worked with us, their asthma has gone away after doing the proper breath work to create this. Things like that, where people are able to, say, be in a lower state of health and balance their own energy by supplying themselves with more energy. This is a hypoxic, meaning breath holding work. This is not hyperventilation. This is hypoventilation. And it's directly related to increasing the amount of electrical charge in each one of our cells, which you can feel very quickly, and we can even measure with things like the BioWell machine. So taking this 16th century amazing discipline, but now what I do is I integrate, hence the integrated part of the Ascension method, biohacking, vibroacoustic therapy, where your whole body vibrates with certain tones, can be color therapy. Also, EEG brain training headsets where you change the neurology of your brain, the actual structure of your brain. I use things like grounding and earthing, frequency medicine, all kinds of different things, because we're in an amazing time in Neta where we have
Yeah.
so much amazing technology, but nothing is as amazing as this incredible instrument of consciousness that we have. And yet so many people completely ignore it, and they ignore their breath.
For sure. So I'm really curious, and you started to allude to this. Tell me what the white dove method was, like the 16th century form, and
Okay.
then go deeper into how you've decided to, I don't want to say modernize it, but how you have identified that there's ways to actually take that and augment it for modern society today.
Great question. So white dove, that's what Merpati Putih means. So when my brother and I split, he kept the trademark Merpati Putih USA. All right. I just said, you know what? I really want to do what I need to do for my heart, for my soul. That's why
Yeah,
I originally brought this over here myself. Is I wanted to do these great things, and it just wasn't going to work with two captains at the helm
sure.
of the ship. And so I gave him everything, and I just went, you know what? I don't want to fight anymore. I want peace. I want happiness. I want to help people ascend and elevate themselves in their families, in their consciousness, in their businesses, in every part of their life. And so I branched out and I formed the White Dove Method, the English meaning of Merpati Putih. And I was teaching what we were teaching before, but then after, I'm just going to flat out say it, I'm a complete and total tech nerd. I love all the neat things that are coming around the bend, and I always have. And so with this in mind, when I started to integrate in harmony vibroacoustic therapy, and I started to integrate sensei brain training headsets, when I started to use binaural beats by some of the originators of brainwave entrainment technology, who were friends of mine, I started to use these things in conjunction with the practice I was already doing. It was just like, oh my God. Yes. So I haven't changed the Merpati Putih system at all. Why fix what's not broken? But here's an interesting thing. You can have a Ferrari, fast car, super powerful, amazing, beautiful. And that's Merpati Putih. What I did is I put a couple rockets on the back of it so it's even faster. So I've always been that person that, like, okay, I like the alphabet, but I really would love to get from A to Z as fast as possible. I'll hit all the steps, but I really want to say the alphabet fast and get to the end. And that's what this helps people do, is to do more with less
Mm.
time, less effort, and get more of the result quicker for them, for themselves. And when it comes down to, let's say, business people, let's say leaders, so much of the time we focus on upon stuff. We want to accomplish something. We want to do something, go somewhere. We want to be seen with people. Okay. But we all have the same destination. I'm sure everybody will agree. It's either going to be a box or it's going to be ashes. Every single one of us. Well, we can delay it, but we cannot deny it.
Yeah.
And so I would like to help everybody have the longest health span and fun span as they possibly can. Because in the end, you can't take your Ferrari with you, but your experiences and your presence, these emotions, that's why we come here. We come here to have experience. It's ongoing and you can't shut it off. So why not do everything in your power, your infinite power, to have the best experiences possible and success and being very abundant in every part of your life? Why not?
Yeah.
There's no reason why not. And what I love about my integrated ascension method is it helps people do more and do better at whatever else they do. So if they do yoga, awesome. If they do Reiki, awesome. If they're atheist and they don't do anything other than go to the gym, awesome. If they sit at home eating junk food, being overweight, in a depressed state, If they do this, they will start to change that. But they have to do something to change. And I'll be the first person to say, I'm not a guru. I am not going to tell anybody the right way or wrong way to do what they want to do in their life. I am also not a gatekeeper to some supposed realm of enlightenment. That's for each of us to do for ourselves. The thing is, though, if you want to build a house, you might have raw trees all around you. But if you don't have hammer and nail and saws, and you don't have a tractor for angles, you don't have the right tools to
Right.
build a house. You're not going to build a house no matter how much you want to build a house. And that's what I do is I help people. I give people those tools that they can build whatever the house they're going to build is. But I'm not the person to judge what their house should be.
Sure. I'm still trying to understand the exact, like, what the elements of this method are. So it sounds like some energy work, some breath work. What else? What, if you could cover high level, what else
Yeah.
is part of this IM method? And then how can people experience that if they want to work with you?
Beautiful. So it really comes down to the hermetic principle that the universe is mental.
Universe is mental. What do you mean by that?
Well, what that means is everything is thought. And even Einstein said that there is no matter. All matter is light that has been slowed down so that we can perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of earth frequency and vibration. I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing, but it's very true. And even with atomic physics, we look at subatomic particles. All they perceive is light that is phasing in and out of reality every septillionth of a second. Everything is made of light. As much
Mm-hmm.
as this, we're just
Yeah.
perceiving this as solid, that's it. But we also know that consciousness is non-local. It's outside of our body. That's why they have like magnetoencephalographs. It can measure your brain waves from outside your head. How is that possible? And with so many people validating the out-of-body phenomena and remote viewing and being accurate, how can you possibly know what's going on the other side of the planet, accurately and be able to verify it? And that's been done so many times that we understand that, yes, the universe is mental. It's us through the power of thought. So I know that's a big conversation, and I probably may have blown some people out of the water, but just hang with me because it comes down to the infinite, unlimited, eternal nature of us that doesn't have limitations that society, our churches, our government, our friends and family, and even our own observations have put on us. I mean, why is it some people are able to do amazing superhuman things and other people aren't? It's not just a matter of training, but it's also a matter of belief, and it's a matter of
Yeah.
their mental state. So that's what this helps people do, is formulate that mental state the way that works best for them. I don't tell people how to think. I don't tell them what to think, but I help them have the tools so that they can use what they're doing and go how to think and create the result that they really want. So I hope that makes sense. It's a high level view, but we use hypoxic breath work. We use also superventilation or hyperventilation breath work in conjunction with that. Meditation. And it's not just meditation. These are meditations that are, if anybody out there has ever had trouble meditating, you want this system. We've had people with like heart brain coherence monitors on that in 5 minutes they get into high heart brain coherence and they'll keep it for 2 hours straight. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
And these things help us in our entire nervous system, in our immune system, in our longevity, honestly. And so we have several different kinds of breath work. Some are breath holding, some are over breathing, some are slow breathing. But then also we use what I call full body mudras. So people who are familiar with mudras, the touching of the fingers,
Yeah.
these connect different circuits in the body. We're electrical. If your heart stops, they shock you back to life. We're electrical.
Yeah.
So this system, Merpati Putih, very specifically uses different body postures and hand postures to create different circuitry in the entire body in a way that nothing else I've ever seen does. Coupled with the breath work and breath locks and pressurization of the pulmonary system to create an inductance field of energy throughout
Mm.
60,000 miles of blood vessels. And we can measure the energy output and the increase. Now, with
Wow.
our technology, again, I love technology.
How long are these sessions? Do you work one-on-one with people? Do you do group sessions? What are the different ways that folks can work with you to experience this?
Well, the first thing that I would love to do is I have a couple different things. The most important and most accessible one for people is my online programs. So I actually have a gift for everybody who's listening. And this is my I Am Energy Shielding class. And what this does is helps us mentally be shielded and sovereign from the impact of other people's thoughts, energies, and deeds so that we can really stay within our own center. It's almost immediately done, and people can use it literally on the fly. And then also it teaches people what is known as the perfect breath rhythm. Now, the perfect breath is known through science as being a 5.5 second inhale, 5.5 second exhale, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And there are numerous chants and other religious and throughout all kinds of different religions that follow the same things. 5.5 seconds inhale, 5.5 seconds exhale for thousands of years. It's really quite cool. And so that's my gift for everybody there. And you can get that. Aneta will put the link in there. But then for people who really want to take a step further than that, and they really want to find out more of what they can do, I have two options. The first one is my masterclass. And this is all about pain-free mobility, how to eliminate pain using our breath and with our mind, how to increase our flexibility, but then also how to start to feel, flow, and project our own energy, and how to take our energy from a 5 to a 10 in 2 minutes anywhere you are, except for driving. It's not safe to do driving. That's my masterclass. But for the people who are really high achievers that want to have the very best health span and fun span and want to have almost immediate results in their energy, that's my LEAP program. And that's my Life Force Energy Ascension Protocol, the LEAP. And this is the breath holding, body mudras, energy feeling, flowing, projecting, and building exercises of the Merpati Putih system, along with some other special stuff. And that one is available. Both of them are available on my website, which is, I think I kind of got one of the sexiest websites you could for an energy worker. It's iampure.energy. So I am pure energy.
I love it.
But there's not .com, it's .energy. So I am pure.energy. And on there in my courses, you'll be able to see those things. And I have a special thing for everybody out there as well, that if you want to really dive into those and you want to level up, if you use the coupon code Aneta10, that's ANETA 10, going to get you 10% off any of my products right there. And so those are things that I do, and people can do those right in the safety and the comfort of their own home on their own schedule. However, I do also host retreats, high-level retreats for executives, pro athletes, high-level influencers. I also work one-on-one, same demographic. And I'm going to start a lengthy program, a 6-month program, where people can come in and they can learn weekly with me, similar to what I was doing for 20 years, 22 years here in Utah, but without having to travel to Utah. You can do it from your own home. And finally, I have two very amazing programs that I'm in the process of producing right now. One is called Eros, and the other one is called Venus. Eros is for the gentlemen, Venus is for the ladies, and this is all about our sexual health, because we have, well, we figure the ED market alone is $4.7 billion a year. There's a significant problem, and there's about 10% more in the female population that have some kind of dysfunction or issues in this arena. And it's something that I have, put it this way, in 2 minutes, I had a gentleman, 68 years old, hadn't had feeling in that area for over 2 years, even with injections in that area and all the pills and most stuff. And it took 2 minutes, and it was the first time he had had movement there in 2 years. And it took literally 2 minutes of this breath.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you're able to move energy through all the different energy centers. Thank you for those offers. That's amazing. And we'll definitely include all the notes. I am still curious about a couple things, and I have to ask the question about, is it called teleporting, you said, where you can literally travel and be able to see remote viewing? What did you call it?
Yeah, so there are a couple different ones. So the first one is remote viewing. So you're sitting, you're writing things down, you're consciously aware of where you're at, but your awareness is somewhere else, perceiving, whether it's through sight, hearing, I don't think taste or touch is usually the thing, but yes. So if you look up remote viewing, you'll see quite a bit of research that's been done by the US government. There's also a lot by the Chinese government, the Russian government as well, because the psychic spy thing was happening during the Cold War a lot, and I'm sure it probably still is. So remote viewing is the first one, and there are many courses on it. But then there's also out-of-body travel, or astral projection. Astral projection kind of has a woo-woo connotation. We're like, hey, but out of body travel, almost all of us have had this, especially as children. We would do this a lot, and then we forget, and it goes away. The ability goes away. But the thing is, it is, once again, a trainable skill. Just like seeing without your eyes is a trainable skill for some people. Not for all people, but for some people. And we all have our own superpower. And that's why I love what I do, because I get to
Yeah.
help people find out whatever their superpower is. But you have to have enough electricity and energy in your body to actually use whatever that is. So the first step is not to look outside for some kind of pill or something like that. It's to have the tools and techniques to go inside, because
Yeah.
it's all within us. We just have to go there. And most people just don't know how.
It's exciting. And I know you also have a belief that we know that we are one in a 400 trillion miracle to be alive. I love sharing
Mhm.
that with my clients as well. What does that mean about our purpose or our mission on our life?
What that means is that every moment is sacred, that there's no such thing as an ordinary moment, and no one ever comes again. So breathe, be conscious. Are you paying attention? Because before you know it, it'll be over. So be aware,
Mhm.
because whether you believe that we all chose to come here or we're just here on accident, what I can tell you, a good friend of mine, one of the most prominent quantum physicists in the world, I was speaking with him a couple of years ago, and I asked him, so what are the chances of life happening? And he said, okay, well, statistically, the chance of a single celled organism forming out of the primordial goo that was here on the planet is 1 to the 29th power.
Mm.
So that's a 1 with 29 zeros behind it for a single celled organism to have formed
Yeah.
and survived. 1 to the 29th power. So what that means to me is, what about this? Where we're 50 trillion cells and probably 100 trillion bacteria all harmonized and working together to have this experience. It's infinitesimal, not just
Yeah.
your process of being born and your chances. And it's not like 1 in 400 trillion chance that the sperm and the egg come together. No, it's that your parents were born exactly where they were born, had everything happen in their lives to make sure that they came together at exactly the right time. Your mom was ovulating. Dad has he's going okay.
Strong
Things
swimmers.
are working there. Lots of
Yeah.
swimmers. And they came together at exactly the moment and the second that they did, in order for that sperm to go into that egg to create just you. And then there's the process of carrying the person in the womb, no
Yeah.
problems, or even there were problems, and overcame those problems for you to actually be born and become a human. It's insane. Now, if people go 400 trillion to 1 chance, just type that into Google. You'll have tens of thousands of pages, posts, things on Etsy, quotes. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot. And what that means to me is that even if we're an accident, we're the most divine accident of all time. But I don't believe in accidents. Just
Yeah.
like seeing the blind woman a day after the videotape, and so
Mhm.
many other synchronicities that have happened to me and to all of us, and can we really shape our life and our path in our life if we're paying attention to what they are doing, what they mean. Or we can just stay unconscious and let them slip by, live 85 years of the same day over and over, and
Yeah.
realize toward the end that we actually never lived our life. I prefer every day's different.
Yes, and that segues into the title of this podcast. And I ask everyone, what does it mean to you to live the width of your life?
That means to do as much as I can for everyone that I can for as long as I can until I can't.
Mhm. Beautiful. I love it. So good. Nate, thank you so much for the great work you're doing in this world. I love that you paid attention to those signs so many years ago and that you boldly were able to leverage your curiosity, I think, in that stage and really continue to make this your mission in life. We'll include all the notes for the wonderful ways that folks can work with you and continued success to you.
Thank you so much. And to everybody out there, please create a great now and day on purpose.